Yeah, welcome to the show. It is Wrestling Uncensored. Tonight on the program, the WWE Champion, Drew McIntyre, has defeated COVID-19. Sting has his first match set for AEW, and we are 1 week away from the Royal Rumble. Wrestling Uncensored starts right now. Hey, Johnny. How you doing?
Hey,
What's up, pal?
well, I've been better. Like, I don't know about you, but I feel like almost every week or every couple months, we always go through this little pattern of like, was that the worst Raw you just ever saw? And I feel like we have another candidate this week because, wow, that was bad.
Yeah, Raw wasn't great, but this is a post-SmackDown show. It's Friday night. We just watched SmackDown. Let's start with SmackDown. Let's see what's up with the smacking down, the blue brand, before we get on to Raw. Raw was not great. Drew McIntyre does seem to have defeated COVID-19. He has wrestled for the WWE. It was a show that they've taped for the network and for India, a very India-centric show. Drew McIntyre teaming up with Induce Share to defeat Jinder Mahal and the Bollywood Boys. I mean, I was reading the names that are on this show. This show's going to air at Tuesday morning at 9:30 on the WWE Network. It's being called the Superstar Spectacle. And just to give you a little tease on what you can expect to see Finn Balor take on Guru Raj. Who? You could see Rey Mysterio, Ricochet, Giant Zanjeer, and Dilsher Shanky wrestle King Corbin, Cesaro, Shinsuke, and Dolph Ziggler. Who is Giant Zanjeer? Anyways, Drew McIntyre wrestled on this thing. They taped it for the network. So Drew is back, and he will be on Raw Monday, right? He's back. Drew's back, and he's going to wrestle at the Rumble next week. The Rumble is a week away, and it'll be Drew versus Goldberg for the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble next week. And, of course, next Friday night here on the show, we'll preview the Royal Rumble. And, of course, right after the Royal Rumble, towards the maybe we'll do a watch-along of the Men's Rumble match, depending on where it is on the show. We'll watch kind of the main event with you, and then we'll do a post-show wrap-up of the Royal Rumble pay-per-view coming up on January 31st on Sunday. Of course, tomorrow night I'll be back here 10 p.m. for UFC 257, doing the whole watch-along with the boys, the Ringside Report boys, watching some MMA, watching some Conor McGregor tomorrow night. Very hyped for that. Shout out to Lauren Cronish on the chat. Douglas Hepburn says, happy Friday. My son Nick and I ready to be entertained. Doug and Nick, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Doug, for becoming a member of the channel. Don't forget to become a member of the channel. We appreciate you. You guys are our favorite. Bob Cote on the chat, Mako8033. Shout out to everybody. Johnny North, Drew McIntyre will be wrestling Bill Goldberg at the Royal Rumble. But tonight we saw the other champion, Roman Reigns, the big dog. And we know he's going to wrestle Kevin Owens in a last man standing match. And there was a lot of Kevin and Roman stuff. The show revolved, as it always does, around Roman Reigns. I like the opening promo from Roman with Paul Heyman. I thought it was solid stuff from Roman, and then Adam Pearce coming out saying, Roman, you're out of control. Roman was saying, Adam Pearce got out of the match with me at the Rumble because he said his knees are hurt. Well, my knees hurt, my back hurts. Maybe I won't be able to wrestle at the Rumble. And Pearce is like, come on, Roman, this is crazy. And then Roman berates Pearce for continuing to give Kevin Owens title shots. And Roman gets mad. He's like, how come you have the audacity to complain about your body hurting. You haven't wrestled in 6 years. I'm here week in and week out. I thought it was a good promo from Roman Reigns. And then really got into Pierce's face. Pierce says, look, I'll take the physical intimidation from Roman, but I won't take it from you, Paul Heyman, because Heyman was kind of laughing. And then Roman was like, hey, Paul, he's stepping up to you. He's disrespecting us. You better show him. So Heyman gets into Pierce's face and challenges him to a match. Which, of course, they set up at the beginning of the show. It's not going to actually be Paul Heyman and Adam Pearce wrestling at the end of the show. This, which is why we had a backstage segment with Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns where Roman tells Heyman, you better handle the business. I'm counting on you. Don't let us down. You accepted this match. You better, take it like a man. And Heyman is all scared, thinking Roman is not going to help him. But, of course, Paul Heyman comes down to the ring. He trips on his way there on the ring steps. And Roman Reigns comes out after Heyman's like, oh, card subject to change, Adam Pearce. Ha, ha, ha. Here comes Roman. Roman beats up Adam Pearce for a bit. Kevin Owens shows up after a while. Then he beats up Roman, hits him with a couple stunners, powerbombed him through the table, which I like to end the show. I like the ending of the show, how we got there. I like the concept of setting up Paul Heyman versus Adam Pearce for the end of the show. The problem is the WWE does so much of this bait and switch booking, you expect it not to happen when they announce it. Only the most gullible of WWE fans, only the people that don't watch that often that might think, oh, they're actually going to do this. But we watch this and we're like, yeah, we know they're going to go in a different direction. That Roman Reigns is going to wind up beating up Adam Pearce. And somebody made a good point on Twitter. You could follow me on Twitter at Dave Simon MMA. I want to give the guy credit. It was Derek John, right? He goes,
yep.
John Savage DJS on Twitter. He goes, doesn't really make sense that he can't wrestle Roman at the Royal Rumble next week, but he can have a match tonight. It's a solid point. It's a very good point. Didn't make sense at all. He's like, oh, I'm too hurt. Last week, he's like, oh, I'm too hurt. My knees are hurt. I can't wrestle you, Roman, at the Royal Rumble. Card subject to change. Here comes Kevin Owens. This week, he's like, yeah, I'll accept the challenge for a match with Paul Heyman. Didn't make much sense. And again, it's just WWE they never kind of give you what you want. WWE sets up one of these preposterous matches, and they find a way out of doing the match. I feel like other companies might give you these preposterous matches, but they'll find a way of doing the match. They'll do the match. It won't be great. AEW's like, yeah, we'll do a 10-man tag on a football field. And some people liked it. I didn't. But, it's preposterous, and they didn't kind of swerve you in the end, and they were like, well, it's not going to be a 10-man. It's going to be, not in a football field, mostly in the ring. They did it on a football field. You know what I'm saying? WWE, they come up with these ridiculous matches that you're like, yeah, they're not really going to do Heyman and Pearce at the end of the show here, are they? And they don't. A lot of this Adam Pearce stuff. Adam Pearce is going to wrestle Roman at the Rumble. Really, though? Isn't Kevin Owens going to come back? And then he does. It's like WWE sets up this stuff that you're supposed to believe, but I don't believe them. Did you believe it?
Well, going into this, we had this match as the main event, and we also had Sasha, right, against Reginald. And I'm like, so they're going to give us 2 dud matches. This looks like it's going to be a horrible SmackDown. And also, I think I said on Twitter, if you've seen Paul Heyman in actual wrestling matches, they're god-awful. I don't know if you've watched them or not, but it's really bad. And he was in good shape or decent shape back then. Good shape might be wrong word, but he was
good Heyman
okay.
shape. Yeah.
For Heyman, he was all right. But now it's I fear him just taking a punch at all. I don't think he could fall down right. It'd be terrible if he fell, I think, because he's just so huge now. I'm just being fair with it. It's just
he's
the way
just
it
so
is.
Huge. Just the way you put it. He's just gargantuan at this point. He's bulbous. Look at him. He's like a walrus out there. He's only 55. I was like, how old is Paul Heyman? He seems quite old. He seems like, a fall might kill him. But he's 55. He won't die from a fall. There's a certain age where you fall, you could die. He's not at that age yet, is he? You're talking about him like he falls, he dies. I don't think so, John. I think he falls, he maybe, breaks some shit, but I don't think he dies. I think he'll be fine.
Well, you can pull it up. Look at a picture of like Paul Heyman like in the early 90s.
Well, yeah. Paulie dangerously, yeah, for sure. That's a different Paul Heyman back then. I'm not saying he's in great shape. I'm just saying I think he could fall. I think they could have found a way to do Paul Heyman versus Adam Pearce for 2 minutes. I think they could have found a way around that. I think they could have found a better way. I mean, that wasn't really the most offensive part of SmackDown. The most offensive part of SmackDown to me was the goddamn Reginald the Sommelier getting so much over on Sasha Banks, hitting Sasha Banks, attacking Sasha Banks, and like looking better against Sasha Banks than most of the female roster does. What the hell was that?
We're having debates on this here.
I mean, that was ridiculous.
Talking about hitting.
This guy's flipping.
Where was the offense?
He had some offense. Sasha was selling something at some point, right? She was selling. He was avoiding moves. He was countering stuff.
There was avoidance. Yeah. That's it. That's all he did was like flips, but he didn't actually hit her.
He did like waist locks.
Oh, wow, a waist lock that got countered into another waist lock. Like everything he tried to do, she countered everything. Like to me, that was a mismatch because like he didn't do anything in terms of like actual offense. Like
he did too much. He looked too good. He's not a wrestler. He looked too good. He looked too good there. Sasha should have beat the hell out of him. He should have taken a beating. He was like, oh, can't catch me, Sasha. Sasha would jump off the top rope. He caught her. You don't catch her. You go down. You're not a wrestler. You're a jabroni guy. He's obviously a wrestler, though. You see him hitting the ropes, doing all these flips. The guy's clearly a wrestler, but, like, that's not what I want to see. I don't want to see Sasha Banks in a competitive match with Reginald the Sommelier. If you're going to have that match, Sasha Banks beats him down. It ends in 2 minutes. He gets 0 over. He gets no flips. He doesn't reverse out of the bank statement. What the hell was that? Doesn't make Sasha look good. Didn't make Sasha look good. Didn't make Sasha look impressive that it took her 5 minutes to barely beat Reginald the Sommelier. Carmella's lackey. It didn't do anything for Sasha. Didn't do anything for Carmella. Didn't do anything for the career future of Reginald the Sommelier, who right now wouldn't stand a chance against Domino Mysterio. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. I had to watch a Dominic Mysterio match tonight, too. I mean, we could say what we want and complain about Roman Reigns and Adam Pearce and Paul Heyman and all the nonsense there. At least it kind of makes sense. At least Roman is cutting some promos and he's taking bumps through a table tonight, and Kevin Owens is doing a good promo and he's a badass and they're professional wrestlers. Reginald the Sommelier, Domino Mysterio wrestling King Corbin. I mean, come on, man. The Street Profits giving fruit baskets to Sonya Deville because she has a job in an office now. She's like executive vice president of SmackDown or some shit. There was a lot of garbage on SmackDown tonight, Johnny. A lot of garbage. At least.
Like I said, the second hour sucked.
Yeah. I mean, the first hour wasn't much better. We had Charlotte Flair and Asuka over Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. That was fine. Billie Kay was ringside with the squad. Was that the best match?
Yeah, it was. Like, to me, it was the best, like, wrestling match. Best, like, back and forth action you saw all night. Like, that to me, that was the most entertaining. Like, I thought Big E and Apollo, that could have been, but, like, it was way too short. And there's too much of that Sammy stuff. Like, I get it, but, like, it took away, unfortunately. Like
after the opening promo, After the opening promo, Sammy handcuffs himself to the barricade, and he's there for like half the show, right?
And that was kind of like sad in a sense too, where it's like everyone walked by him and like kind of made fun of him as well. So like it took away from what he was doing.
So he is angry that he's no longer Intercontinental Champion. He got screwed. Eventually, there's an Intercontinental title match. It's Apollo Crews and Big E. And Sammy decides to unhandcuff himself for that one, of course. Hits his haluva kick on Apollo Crews, then hits it on Big E, leaves them both laying. So something's going to go down there. What happened with Apollo Crews like hanging out with Roman Reigns? Was that just an idea they had for 1 week that they gave up on?
Well, I think they're teasing that he might turn heel, Apollo, but hasn't happened yet. It still could happen. I thought maybe if Apollo lost this match, he'd be like, well, screw this. I'm going to do it the Roman way from now on, you know? But that didn't happen yet. I don't think we're that far yet in the storyline, but I think it could still happen.
I guess we'll see a triple threat, though, maybe at the Rumble between those three for the IC title.
I'm thinking on TV, honestly. Like, if you think about it with the Rumble, there's 2 Rumble matches, right? Because, like, these pay-per-views aren't, like, 5 hours anymore, so I don't expect a lot of matches on the show.
Sammy also declared for the Rumble, too, tonight, so maybe on SmackDown next week.
Big E, too, I think, is already in.
Why did King Corbin wrestle Dominic Mysterio?
So he could beat him up? I mean, I was fine with it. He just beat him up straight up. I'm okay with that. I mean, I don't know about you, but Dom Mysterio looked more pathetic than before. Like, I don't know. Like, he just seems like he hasn't trained. I guess he's been injured. You saw his arm was taped a bit. So I guess, like, he's just getting smaller. But he looked really small. And, like, I guess it doesn't help when you're wrestling, like, a bigger guy like Baron Corbin. But
yeah, Corbin's huge.
Corbin's huge, and he didn't get much offense. But I'm fine with that. Like,
yeah,
that's the way Dom should be used.
Yeah, it's men against boys in there. It's ridiculous. Like, he goes in there against King Corbin, and I'm like, well, geez, man. This is a guy King Corbin should definitely beat. Dominic Mysterio against Buddy Murphy or Seth Rollins is one thing, because the size difference is not that bad. King Corbin, it's like, geez. Not only does Dominic look like a kid, he's tiny compared to King Corbin. King Corbin is a gigantic man. What is he, 6'7", 6'8"? That guy is freaking tall. Yeah. Got to be near 300 pounds. He's definitely over 6'5", right? Like, shoot over 6'5". I don't know what they bill him as, but I'd say he shoots 6'5", 6'6" at least, right?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think they said 6'5", 6'6", something like that. Yeah, he's a tall guy, like, without question. But it's just amazing. You see, like, Seth Rollins has, like competitive matches against Mysterio. Dom Mysterio, and then Baron Corbin just straight up squash. So it makes you wonder, like, how they think of Seth in a sense.
Well, yeah, but that was when there was a storyline there. Now it's like, whatever. The story is King Corbin beat up Ray last week. Now he beats up Dominic this week. The story is King Corbin beats up the Mysterios. I don't really care. Daniel Bryan cut a promo talking about winning the Rumble. He said he's never done it. Let's go. Yes. Cesaro shows up. He's like, come on, Daniel Bryan. I beat you last week. There's no way you're winning the Rumble. You suck. And Daniel Bryan's like, I want a rematch. And Cesaro's like, no. I'm tired of doing the same thing every single week, proving myself the same way. I want a different thing. Open challenge. It's like, what? Dolph Ziggler comes out for some reason and accepts the open challenge. Who's the babyface? Cesaro beats Ziggler with the neutralizer. I thought the match was solid. I would give that maybe match of the night on SmackDown tonight. I saw my man Derek John was given that one as well.
A little too short, and like just like it didn't make sense that we were getting that match. Like it seemed out of place. Like at least with the Riot Squad, it's like, well, they've been trying to build up to go face the tag champs. You're finally getting that match. I thought it was just a great showing back and forth, and we'll talk about this, but I thought Charlotte and Asuka, like, they were so bad on Raw. This was just like, wow, like, you guys are actually good again. It's nice to see that.
They needed a little bit of a rebound off the Lacey Evans stuff to kind of get back on track as the tag team champions. They had a rough outing on Raw. Asuka had a rough outing on Raw. Can't believe what happened to Asuka on Raw. That was bowling shoe ugly, pal. Cesaro beating Dolph Ziggler, though. I thought that was all right. Not sure who was the heel, who was the babyface in that one, but hey, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And Bayley and Bianca Belair have an obstacle course. Bayley explained the rules, does the obstacle course, does an easy version of it that includes carrying Chad Gable across a line. Then it's Bianca's turn. Bayley switches up the rules. Bianca does it in record time, but instead of carrying Chad Gable, she has to carry, oh yeah, Otis, which I loved. And she did it. She carried Otis, and she won the obstacle course, slam dunked the basketball, and then got beat up by Bayley. I thought that was all right. I like seeing Bianca do that athletic stuff. It shows how impressive she is. Carrying Otis was the most impressive thing she did, though. Like jumping over the things that she jumped over, pushing the tire. It was like, yeah. When she put Otis on her shoulders and like started walking, I was like, God damn, that's one strong lady. You know, that was cool.
Well, it's like you just said right there. Like, yeah, the stuff with Otis was great. The other stuff, it's just like, well, this is boring. I used to not watch NXT because I didn't want to watch this kind of stuff because they would do this.
What?
And then we saw
I love
this.
that. That was my favorite part of NXT. Titus O'Neil doing the stuff, falling down with. Wasn't Titus carrying a barrel and he like fell down? Titus always falling. It's his gimmick. Yeah,
not great moments in my opinion. Not quality television. And this wasn't anything that I thought special whatsoever. I mean, you kind of knew what was going to happen anyways. That Bianca was going to win, and then Bayley would attack her, and that's it. It seemed like it went just long, and just to kill time. And it's like I'd rather see wrestling. Like I felt in the second hour, wrestling died.
Yeah. I don't know. I like seeing Otis. What can I say? I love Otis. He's like a modern-day bushwhacker.
That long.
No. The Street Profits Bianca Belair promo didn't need to be, or not Bianca Belair, Street Profits Sonya Deville promo. That took too long. Like, it wasn't that long, but it felt like it was going on forever. I don't want to see those people talk.
I think you just don't like the Street Profits that much.
Or Sonya Deville.
I get you.
I don't like Sonya Deville either. She's boring.
I think she's a decent wrestler, though. Like, yeah, what she's put in right now is kind of meh. But they don't have another spot for her because they got stuck in that storyline where she can't wrestle now because she got kicked out of WWE, right? So now she has to be an authority figure. So
I'll take Nikki Cross over Sonya Deville every single day. Nikki Cross, Mandy Rose, so many people over Sonya Deville. Yeah? Do you see that promo Nikki Cross cut on Twitter? You didn't see that? Tremendous.
I heard about it. I didn't see it.
Go to Nikki Cross's Twitter and see her promo that she did. It was fantastic. Nikki Cross is so good. I love Nikki Cross. Like, she is one of the most underappreciated wrestlers that the WWE has been for years. I first got turned on to Nikki Cross when she wrestled Asuka in a last woman standing match in NXT like years ago, right? I remember watching that match with my newborn son, so that match had to be roughly 3.5 years ago. That's when I first kind of was like, whoa, Nikki Cross is a badass wrestler. And she hasn't done enough. Although she is the first 2-time women's tag team champion, I think. But they haven't done enough with her. I want to see more from Nikki Cross. She's super talented. She can talk. She can wrestle. She's got everything. Nikki Cross. Okay? That's how I feel about Nikki Cross. Over to Raw. Somebody I like as well, who was the other half of that Nikki Cross match, Asuka. Didn't go so well for Asuka on Raw. Alexa Bliss hosts her talk show segment on the swings. Alexa says she only meant to talk to Randy last week, but things got a little bit heated. Get it? She lit him on fire. We'll talk about that Randy Orton in the mask promo, too, later. I'm sure you love that, John. I'm sure you love that.
One of the best parts of the show.
You fuck.
And I mean it.
You motherfucker,
Randy's
you.
great.
What are you talking about?
Randy's awesome, man. Like,
fucking...
To me,
the spoiler,
that's him being Kane.
The spoiler.
Kane.
Didn't he look like the spoiler, though, in that mask?
Yeah, you could say that, sure. But, like, to me, like, him protecting us from him, you know, like, from seeing his, like, burnt face, like, that's Kane, isn't it? Like, I feel Kane said the exact same thing.
Yeah, and the promos sucked then, too. So... fucking love that song.
Finger 11. Okay.
Oh, tremendous, bro. So Alexa Bliss is on the swings. Asuka shows up. She goes to sit in the other swing. Alexa's like, don't sit there. You're not allowed to sit there. That's not your spot.
Well,
and then she starts talking to the other. Yes, John, I got it. Then she starts talking to the other swing like the Fiend is there. The ghost of the Fiend. Alexa says she's entering the Royal Rumble. That's part of the promo. Asuka's like, hey, I'm excited for you. We're great friends. Yowie wowie, Asuka says. And then Asuka wants to dance for some reason, plays her theme music, starts dancing. Alexa Bliss gets mad, tells her to stop, and then she starts talking to the Fiend. She's like, oh, if I was doing something different, you'd still be here, Fiend. I love you, Fiend. And then Asuka's like, don't worry, Alexa. He's still here. And then Alexa's like, don't say his name. And then she sits on a rocking horse, and the segment ended. That was one of the worst goddamn talk show segments in the history of the WWE. I don't care what you say. I know that they've done some terrible goddamn segments in the past, but this was truly awful, and it made me never want to watch Alexa Bliss ever again. Her promos are terrible. This angle is terrible. And then the match. Just wait.
Yeah, the match.
Just wait till the main event happened. Alexa Bliss beats Asuka.
It's how she beat her. It was the really insulting part.
With the Sister Abigail. A shitty-ass Sister Abigail at that. So the Fiend lights went out mid-match. We cut to commercial. We come back. Alexa Bliss is just standing in the ring, and I guess her hair was different? Is that what happened? Her hair changed color? I didn't notice.
Makeup.
Yeah, she looked a bit different. She was like
dressed.
Firefly Funhouse Alexa to start the match, and then she turned into Fiend Alexa mid-match. And Asuka was like freaked out for some reason because her hair and makeup fucking changed. Asuka can't handle it. So the Fiend effects hit after the match, and Alexa's hair changed back after Alexa beat her. So Alexa got inhabited by the Fiend, some sort of broken Matt Hardy scenario, where she had a fucking wardrobe change mid-match that gave her superpowers that helped her beat the Raw Women's Champion and one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions, somebody who's been on the run of all runs, beating everybody in her path, has had the goddamn title for nearly a year, and Alexa Bliss really only to further the Randy Orton Fiend angle beats Asuka. This is what we mean by focus on the women's division. Don't sacrifice the best champion that you have for some shitty angle between Randy and Bray Wyatt. Because as much as this is about Alexa, it's more about the Fiend, right? Who's she talking to? What is this all about? She's shooting fireballs at who? Is this feud about Asuka and Alexa Bliss? Or is this about The Fiend and Randy Orton, and Asuka and Alexa Bliss are just being used as extras in this story? The best champion that you have in your whole company, really, Asuka, she's the only champion that's universally loved and respected. She's one of the longest reigning champions in your company. Becky Lynch gave her the belt. And you shit on that by having her lose to the fiendy fucking Alexa Bliss in a shitty, goofy match with wardrobe changes and fucking light shows. Fuck off. That's your main event. Get the fuck out of here. How do you do that to Asuka?
You forgot about the no selling as well. How the match kind of just stopped for like many moments where it's just like she's just standing there and like she's kind of scared, Asuka. And it was really hard to say I enjoyed Raw. Like I actually had to turn off Raw because like I couldn't stand it anymore, to be honest. And I felt bad because I recommended to a friend who had just recently got the Sportsnet Now app. It's like, oh, you can watch Raw now, you know? Like, let me know how it is, because he hadn't watched Raw since like 2005. And sad to say, he's never probably going to watch Raw ever again after watching this.
Why would you? Why would you?
So I felt pretty bad. I felt horrible, where I'm like, oh, Raw's been pretty good, and then this Raw happened, and then that happened. Like, that match happened. And I'm like, well, I feel stupid. I can't believe this. And it took me like pretty much the whole week to finally finish Raw, because like just to finish that match, because I couldn't do it. I was just like, this is awful. This is one of the worst main events ever for Raw. And I think we've said that many times before in the past, but this is definitely a top candidate right here.
Yeah. Match was awful. What they did to Asuka was terrible. I see Doug Hepburn on the chat. He says Asuka deserves better. You're goddamn right. I see Patrick C. Hamilton says, I don't watch it at all. Ringside Report is my only connection to wrestling. And
There's
that's
a great
it.
line that I just saw.
What did you see?
Friends don't let friends watch
Raw, Johnny. It's true.
That's pretty good.
That's right, Johnny. You shouldn't have allowed your friend to watch Raw. You shouldn't have done that. And apparently we have a raffle going on in the chat. So check the chat for info on that. I don't know how that works.
You're surprising me because I have no idea what you're talking about. It wasn't planned whatsoever.
To enter. Well, we're doing a raffle right now for a tumbler. A what?
That's cool.
We're giving away a tumbler right now on the chat. We're giving away a cup tumbler gimmick. You got to it's in the raffle. We're giving it away. I actually don't know how this works. I'm seeing it going on in the chat. I don't know how it's working, but the Ringside Report team will inform you how to buy a raffle ticket. I think some people are doing it. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to give something away. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that there are things going on in the show that I'm not even aware of. Like, things just happen. It's just like, oh, yeah, cool. It's a vacuum-insulated tumbler raffle. Use raffle to enter. Okay.
That's pretty cool. You can watch the show and you can win stuff. That's cool.
Yeah. Support the team. Become a member of the channel. You never know what you're going to get on the show, okay? Tomorrow night, it's going to be a wild party for UFC 257. Tonight, we're doing wild things on the Wrestling Uncensored show. Things are happening, baby. It's a party. We're having fun. So we're having fun because, goddamn, watching WWE is not fun. But I like talking about it. I like talking about the fucking crazy shit that we see. Because if we don't document this stuff, Johnny, nobody's watching it. We got to tell people what's happening. Asuka lost clean. 1, 2, 3. Middle of the ring to Alexa Bliss. Fuck. And
it's
and
not
Charlotte,
so much that. It's just... Oh,
yeah,
you go with
ahead.
this too.
No. Go ahead.
Well, no,
it's just finish your point.
It's just how it was done. It was just like after that commercial break, how it wasn't really a wrestling match anymore. It was just like bad dinner theater you were watching, like a horrible performance. It wasn't wrestling anymore.
Yeah. It's not wrestling. It's not even sports entertainment because you can't even call this entertainment. It's goddamn filling time. Killing time until the company goes out of business. I don't know.
It was the main event.
Yeah. Main event
Yikes.
of, historically the greatest wrestling program in the history of the business, right? Like, if I were to ask you, what's the greatest wrestling show in the history of wrestling? You'd say Raw, right? Because of the history.
Yeah, of course.
Raw is the best wrestling show ever. We know that Raw done right is the best wrestling show ever. But at a certain point, over time, when you say, oh, what's the best wrestling show ever? People might have to say Dynamite. Because Raw sucks so bad. Not to say that Dynamite has ever reached the heights that the greatest Raws have reached, nor will it ever. But when you have such a track record of shitty Raws, eventually people are going to say, yeah, I don't know if Raw's the greatest show ever. You know?
Well, let's be fair. SmackDown's been around for a while, too. So there's been some pretty good SmackDowns.
Yeah. SmackDown's pretty good, too. I didn't hate SmackDown tonight. I thought SmackDown tonight was okay, but a little bit weird.
Second hour sucked.
Yeah. So Charlotte Flair on Raw. We already talked about SmackDown. I'm done with SmackDown. All right? Gone. Done.
I like Ric Flair on Raw every week. Ric Flair on Raw every week is awesome.
He's not getting it in with Lacey Evans, though. Lacey's not giving him the business. I want to see more like making out between Flair and Lacey. It's not happening. Charlotte Flair beat Peyton Royce with a figure-8 submission. Despite the distraction by Ric Flair and Lacey Evans, Lacey showed up wearing a Flair robe mid-match. They're out dancing around on the stage. Charlotte's like, yeah, whatever. I'm still beating Peyton Royce. Then she holds on to the submission after the match. I wanted to see Charlotte get disqualified there. I thought that would have made sense. You know, Charlotte still wins, but she doesn't really win. She gets disqualified because she's so angry that Ric Flair is being toyed with by Lacey Evans, but they didn't call for the disqualification. She just let go of the hold eventually. I don't know. Seen it before in pro wrestling where somebody holds on to their submission after the match and decisions reversed, they lose the match. Seen it in MMA. Charlotte holds on to the figure-8 after the match, retains the victory. I thought it would have made sense to have her get the victory taken away because she's so angry with what Lacey and her dad are doing. But no.
I think you thought too much into it more than they thought. You know, unfortunately, the whole idea is to make Charlotte look really good. And this match didn't really do that, unfortunately. I don't know about you. Like, I think trying to give Charlotte too much over didn't make the match very interesting to watch. And a lot of moves came off very sloppy. Like, the chemistry was horrific in this match. I don't know if you noticed, there's a moment in the match where Charlotte does her little, like, leg on the rope thing. Like, Peyton, for whatever reason, just couldn't get it right. And it just looked awful in the end. I think they wanted a reversal, but, like, it's not a reversal when the leg's down before she even jumps, you know? Like, just that jump on the rope thing. Like, the leg wasn't even there anyways, and she still jumped. Like, it just looked like they weren't on the same page from the opening bell. Like, it just looked like it was awful from the start.
I don't think Peyton Royce is very good.
She's good in small doses. That's why she was good in tag matches. But I think, you know, in matches that go from like a break.
Billie Kay carried that fucking tag team like she carries everything. People don't give Billie Kay enough credit.
And they're trying to push Peyton because she has a look. And they're going to push people to look. Like you saw with Mandy Rose later in the show. It doesn't matter if they aren't the best wrestlers. They have a look. They're going to give them a shot.
You're saying Billie Kay doesn't have a... I mean, she's got a look too.
I said Mandy Rose. I didn't say Billie Kay.
Yeah, but you're saying, well, Peyton Royce gets a shot. Blah, 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 blah. Anyways.
It's different, though. Billie Kay, she's more of a personality, though. Peyton Royce, like, it's pretty much all look.
Yeah, which sucks. Speaking of all look, Randy Orton, your main man, all look, and now he's got his looks taken away. As the great Daniel Bryan once said, Randy Orton, oh, he's so pretty. So pretty, Randy. And now it's taken away because Alexa Bliss burned his face. So Randy Orton cuts a promo to start Raw wearing a mask in a dark ring, and he's got a hood and a mask, and there's very little light because Randy's got hatred and pain and suffering and voices in his head, and he doesn't blame Alexa Bliss for burning him. He blames the Fiend. He says he knows what the Fiend wants. He wants to stop the inevitable, which is him winning the Royal Rumble. This is all about Randy winning the Royal Rumble. That's what, yeah, Randy, that makes sense. Alexa Bliss shot a fireball at you last week because she wants to stop you from winning the Royal Rumble. Not out of revenge for burning Bray Wyatt to a crisp on the last pay-per-view. No. Bray Wyatt and the Fiend, or the ghost of the Fiend, whatever the fuck is going on, they want revenge on you, Randy, because they want to stop you from winning the Royal Rumble and main eventing WrestleMania, because that would be just too much. They don't want to get back at you for, murder of the Fiend. They just want to stop you from winning the Rumble. Fucking ridiculous. Who's fucking writing this shit? And then Randy lights a match and blows it out. And that's the end of his little promo. Boo. Garbage. Wow. You like this, John.
I enjoy it.
Explain to me why this is good.
I just think Randy's good at selling this new character. It's a new change for Randy. It's something different. The fact that now he's going to be even more sadistic than ever before. Like, this is the Randy Orton that you got to be afraid of, because this is the Randy Orton that more than likely is going to win the WWE Championship again, because it's a new Randy.
This is the Randy you got to be afraid of. This is Demon Randy you got to be afraid of. Ooh. I'm doing the Scott Hall fingers, Johnny. Scott Hall fingers to you. Ooh. Fucking ridiculous, bro. Get out of here, Chico.
Like, Randy's doing some of his best stuff right now. And, like, in my opinion, Randy's, like, carrying Raw. Like, he's the best character right now. And ideally, I'd love for it to be Randy Orton versus Goldberg at WrestleMania. I won't get it, but I'd love to see it.
Fuck you, John. My friend Brian was watching the show, and he's like, tell Johnny North to shut up with all that Goldberg, Randy Orton bullshit. Nobody wants to see that. Only Johnny North wants to see that. What the hell's his problem? My buddies are complaining to me. They're like, tell Johnny North. Nobody wants to see Goldberg, Randy Orton. So that's for Brian, John. Shut the fuck up with all that Goldberg, Randy Orton bullshit. Only you and Double J want to see that shit. Why was Double J interviewed this week?
Love it.
He's like, J-E-F-F, J-A-R-R-E-T-T. I think Goldberg's going to win. Fuck out of here. Goldberg, master of the spear. He's going to win. Yeah, he's going to beat Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre has wrestled, and he will be wrestling at the Royal Rumble against Goldberg. He beat the Rona. He's beat Brock Lesnar. Why wouldn't he beat the Rona? I mean, come on. A lot of people beat the Rona that couldn't beat Brock Lesnar. So, obviously, Drew McIntyre was going to beat the Rona. Easy. Easy peasy. Donald Trump beat the Rona. He would not have a good shot against Brock Lesnar. If he escapes jail, which, like, who knows at this point, right? Who knows? Lock him up. Lock him up. No? Are people chanting that now? Is that a thing? Lock him up?
I don't know. Possibly. I mean,
is he going to get arrested or something? What's happening with that guy? Like, are people still talking about him? He's like not president anymore, right? Is he still president? What happened to that guy?
It sounds like you still want your old show back, but sadly you're not getting it back. you have all this pent up like frustration from not getting that show anymore.
No, I'm all right.
It sounds like.
No, we're good. Mace beat Xavier Woods. Fuck you, Mace.
Yeah.
Fuck Retribution. They're terrible. Those guys, Xavier Woods shouldn't be losing to these jabroni-ass jabronis.
Well, I could see a lot more jobbing for Xavier after what he said this week.
What did he say?
You kind of dissed The Undertaker. I don't know if you do that and it goes well for you.
Well, fuck The Undertaker.
What?
Yeah. Undertaker's like, I think it was better back in my day when wrestlers carried guns and knives and they died at 38 years old. Now these losers, they play video games and they live long, healthy lives and they care about their children and they don't get divorced 6 times. Fucking losers. That's what Undertaker basically said. Fuck you, Undertaker.
But he didn't
All your
say
friends
that.
are dead, dude. All your friends are dead because they fucking went out partying after the fucking show. Okay? These guys are playing video games and they care about their families. All right? Fuck off, Taker. Actually, no. Fuck off, Mark Calloway, you old, grizzled fuck. The fuck is the matter with you? Go get the Rona from Dave Chappelle.
He didn't say it like that. You're twisting it. But he didn't say that. He just thought men were men back when he wrestled. Now, yes, there were some men that obviously drug abusers, but as you know, there were some men that were legit and they took wrestling personally. Nowadays, do you see that? Do guys take it personally? No, they talk about how, like, what a great story we're going to tell. They reveal the business now. So, like, when he says that wrestlers are soft, like, I completely agree with him on that one.
So Undertaker's direct quote, I remember walking into my first real dressing room and all I saw were some crusty fucking men. Half of them had guns and knives in their bags. Shit just got handled back then. Now you walk in, there's guys playing video games and fucking making sure they look pretty. It's evolution, I guess. I don't know what it is, but I just like those eras, man. I liked when men were men. I liked when men were men. I didn't do a good Undertaker impression there. I remember walking into my first real dressing room. People were resting in peace left and right. And you will know my name as Jack Daniels, drinker number 1. And then Xavier Woods is like, I wouldn't be the person that I am without the guidance and lessons of a few key people from the previous generation of wrestling. They taught me about the business, to save my money, and that having video games in the locker room is healthier than having redacted. Thank you, guys. Look, man, I get it. I get what Taker's talking about, but, like, going after the video game players and the younger guys in the locker room, come on, Undertaker. You know what was going on back then in the wrestling business. Do you guys want? Do you really want them to go out and get coked up all day? Like, look how many fucking guys are dead, man. Guys are dead prematurely because they lived like real man. They're resting in peace because they were real men and they drank all night and they did uppers to make it to the next town.
So guys in wrestling aren't dying now? I mean, it happens. It's not like because of drugs as much, but it still happens.
It's not happening at the same clip that it was in Taker's generation. Get out of here, John. You know that the business is cleaner, and one of the reasons that the business is cleaner because guys are going back to their hotel rooms after the show, smoking a joint, eating some pizza, and playing some goddamn video games. That's how they are relaxing. And as Douglas Hepburn points out, Xavier Woods was man enough for Paige, and that's how the guys are relaxing as well, by making sweet love and sex tapes with beautiful ladies. Okay? So Undertaker,
I believe he had an assist on that one, though. Did he not? You saw the tape. You would know.
We all saw the tape, John. Let's not pretend. I just think Undertaker needs to chill out on the real men and all that bullshit. What the hell is he talking about, real men? Tell me Otis isn't a real man. Otis would fucking throttle you, dude. Get out of here. Chad Gable.
Yeah, but
I went to the Olympics.
I-
What are you going to talk about? What are you talking about? These are real men. Cesaro? Cesaro's on up, down, down all the time. You're going to question Cesaro's manhood? Cesaro. It's a fucking
And
beast
where
of a
are they?
man. That's an exemplary
Where are
man.
they?
Plays video games, drinks coffee. Exemplary man. Look at that guy. Strong like a fucking ox. Workhorse. Top-notch professional wrestler. Legend of the business. Future Hall of Famer. One of the most respected guys in the locker room today. He's the new Taker. Cesaro.
Whoa,
You gonna say Cesaro's? Yeah, fuck you. That's right. He's the new Taker. I'm talking about respect. I'm talking about backstage. Like, everybody respects Cesaro, man. You know what I mean? Like,
okay,
he's
respect,
one of,
fine.
yeah. I'm not talking about, like, main eventing WrestleManias and spot on the card. But as far as, like, being a locker room leader, being a guy that everybody kind of looks up to, Cesaro is one of those guys, right? You hear the reverence that these people talk about Cesaro? No. I've heard people talk about Cesaro. Current roster guys. The way they talk about Cesaro, it's like a different thing. Or as Sheamus calls him, Big Dick Tony. Which I like.
You
know why they call him Big Dick Tony?
Why?
Because of Antonio Cesaro, Tony, and Big Dick because he's a dick. Especially to Sheamus, I think. So, but he's a respected guy is what I'm saying. And he plays video games. He's on up, down, down. He drinks coffee. He lives a clean lifestyle. And Undertaker, when he's taking shots at guys in the locker room of today, he's taking shots at guys like Cesaro. And I take exception to that because I look at Cesaro as a fucking real man. That's a hell of a man right there. So if Undertaker thinks he's not and he thinks Road Warrior Hawk is more of a man, well, I think he's got his priorities a little fucked up. Both Road Warriors are dead. They shouldn't be. A lot of guys are dead. Shouldn't be. And this generation will live long because they're playing video games. And they're not on fucking somas and whatever the fuck else you guys in the back of the bus were doing. I've seen that picture, right? You know that picture with Taker and Austin? They're drinking back of the bus or too sweet, Austin, you know? Fucking Sean's there, you know? Or Hunter's there. You know how fucked up there? Like, Taker's drinking Jack Daniels like it's water. That's not healthy. You think that's good for you, Taker? No, but I'm a real man. All right, fuck. Well, real men live shorter lives then. Whatever.
Did you see Andre? Like, Andre drank a lot too.
Yeah, and how fucking old did he last?
Well, that's what I'm a different
saying.
Story too, though.
Like, Taker's acting like this his whole generation were just real men and they're tougher and they drank and partied and it's fine. It's not. Most of you guys are dead. The fact that you survived is a credit to, how tough Undertaker is. But hey, Taker's not old for a person. He's old for a wrestler, but he's 55 years old, which is always shocking because you look at him and you think, throw another 10 years on that. And you know why you look at him and you think he could be 65? Because of the fucking years and the wear and tear and the Jack Daniels and the fucking other bullshit that he put his body through. But he's a real man. He's a real man that fucking took years off of his life. I don't get it.
Well, he gave a lot to wrestling. I have no problem with that. Like, he gave a lot to this business for us. Like, he sacrificed a lot just for our entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I have no disrespect for that. Like, I respect him in the world for that.
But I do disrespect him for saying that today's generation are soft. They're not real men because they play video games. He should applaud.
About the pretty part.
What?
You complain about Randy's too pretty and all this, like.
So? What's that have to do with anything? I'm talking about specifically Taker talking about the guys that are playing video games. And they're playing video games because they're not doing the things that Taker's generation was doing. The demons, the parties. The demons are not as big an issue in wrestling today because guys aren't living that life. They got to do something with their time. They got to have some sort of camaraderie, so they play video games. Taker doesn't play games, so he doesn't get it. But he just sounds like an old, out-of-touch man who wants everybody to kind of grow up in the wrestling business the way he did, but the business has changed. Get a grip.
You know, he grew up in a different time. I mean, he was there for decades. So, like,
yeah,
you know, he saw it differently. But I don't think it was, like, completely bashing everyone who plays video games. It was just more guys that their priorities are set where it's just like, well, it's about playing in this tournament compared to, like, actually putting the wrestling as the most important thing. I think may have been a bit of a concern. And I can understand that.
Sure. The wrestling should always come first, above the video games, above the partying, above whatever. I just don't understand Undertaker going off like that. Just his whole attitude lately has been a little weird.
Rogan actually, like, poked him actually about that. Like, he didn't go off on that. Rogan's the one who's like, hey, what's wrong with the product?
Yeah. I haven't watched it. I haven't listened to it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not really interested. I don't know. I've heard Undertaker say all there is to say. And Joe Rogan doesn't know shit about wrestling, so what's he really going to ask him that I haven't heard answered already? You know? Have you watched it?
Yeah, I watched. I thought it was fun. Like, just him talking about, like, how he got interested in watching UFC and, like, when he met a bunch of guys from UFC. I thought that was really cool. And just, you know, him getting into wrestling, leaving wrestling, and, like, just him talking to him, like, openly like that. Like, I know there's been a bunch of interviews like that, but it's just neat to see because I haven't watched them all.
Yeah, I used to listen to Joe Rogan quite a bit, but the past few times I've listened to Joe Rogan shows, I just get annoyed. So, I don't know.
Well, him also openly talking about taking steroids. Like, he was just very open about everything that he said. So, again, it's something rare to see. Like, when Taker rarely ever did interviews, to see something like that, I thought it was very neat.
I'll get around to it. If you recommend it, I'll get around to it. But I'd rather listen to the New Day podcast. Those guys just talking shit. I love it. Those guys are the best. Shayna beat Mandy Rose this week on Raw. Nia Jax was on commentary. She was actually good with Byron Saxton. Nia and Saxton have good chemistry on commentary. Might be a future role for Nia Jax. Dana Brooke kicked Nia into Shayna and escaped after the match. So the sexy muscle friends at it again. Nia and Shayna argue a bit after the match, but they want a rematch for the tag team titles. Let's get to Miz and Morrison, shall we? What?
Well, before we get there, explain to me what the heck happened there. Like, Shayna said, like, oh, I want a tag team title shot. We should get it now. And then Nia's like, you know, that's a good idea. And then they cut to the commentator saying, like, oh, it doesn't sound like Nia agrees with that, when she completely agreed with that.
Yeah.
Like, what? Did I miss something?
Commentary's confused. I don't know. Maybe Nia wasn't supposed to agree. Yeah, it was weird, but I just kind of, whatever.
Well, you see now why I mute the commentators now, because it's like there's a complete disconnect.
It's terrible. So Miz and John Morrison host the Dirt Sheet. Now it has been Miz TV, right? And John Morrison was just there.
Was.
But now it's the Dirt Sheet again. So it's Miz and Morrison as the hosts. It's not just Miz TV with John Morrison, which is good for Morrison. But I think it's because Morrison was like in charge of the show because Miz seemed to blame him for things going wrong. Their guest was Goldberg, but it's Gilberg, who looks basically like Goldberg at this point. Like, they're both so old. They look roughly the same physically. So is Gilberg.
Yeah, that's an insult.
They're in old man shape. They're both in old man shape. They look roughly
Goldberg's
the same,
in
John.
Amazing shape for his age. Fantastic.
So is Gilberg. Don't diss Gilberg. He looks better than Goldberg. Now, I think if ever there was a time to do Gilberg versus Goldberg, now is the time. Because it's like a fair fight at this point. It's just two old guys looking confused.
Oh, Gilbert just like apparently like had a heart attack recently. Like I'm glad they didn't bump him in the ring. I was worried for that.
So did Goldberg, probably. Uh,
That's terrible.
Fake Drew McIntyre shows up. It's a chubby guy in a Drew McIntyre costume with a bad Scottish accent. Fake Drew and Goldberg act like they're going to wrestle each other at the Rumble for some reason. Morrison doesn't like the accent. Miz blames Morrison, says it's not going well. And then Miz says that he's next because Miz has the money in the bank, so he's teasing a cash-in between Goldberg there and Drew. Do you think he cashes in at the Rumble?
That was my immediate prediction. I'm not 100% sure because we haven't seen Drew and Goldberg yet in the ring because Drew is gone, right? So we're going to see it on Raw. Should give us a better indication, but Miz cashing in was my first pick, but him doing this kind of made me feel like, well, now it's a little too obvious, so maybe they'll change it up. This segment was really bad because like it led to nothing. False advertisement, no Goldberg, so I was really pissed. I was very disappointed with this.
Yeah, I didn't care that there was no Goldberg. I was happier seeing Goldberg than Goldberg. I've had more enjoyment out of seeing Goldberg than I have out of Goldberg's appearances. All right?
I'm glad he's okay because, like, he had a heart attack, so I'm glad he's doing all right.
I'm a bigger Goldberg fan than I am a Goldberg fan. Let's talk about something good. AJ Styles and Ricochet. Match of the week. Incredible slingshot suplex into the Styles Clash for the finish. Amazing finish. Amazing Styles Clash. Great match.
It's probably the only point of this show where you're like, is this the worst show? Like, well, it can't be because, like, you had such a great match.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, that finish, that was one of the most creative finishes that I've seen ever.
It was so good it didn't deserve to be on such a shit show. You know? It's too bad.
Should have been the main event, obviously.
You really have to sift through the bullshit in WWE to get the little glimmers of hope, right? Like, there are little golden nuggets in the WWE. Last week we had Daniel Bryan and Cesaro on SmackDown. Just, beautiful match. This week we see AJ Styles and Ricochet on Raw. An episode of Raw that was just horrible. But that one match, that one finish, just great. You know? Too bad. Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and Cedric Alexander, the Business of Hurt, beat Matt Riddle, Grand Metalik, and Lindsay Doritos. Lashley got Metalik to tap to the Hurt Lock. Cedric and Shelton were arguing the whole match, but they still won. Mm-hmm. And then Bobby was mad at both of them. I mean, these guys just won the Raw Tag Team titles, and they're already feuding with each other. They don't have challengers for the Raw Tag Team titles. I don't even know if there's a tag team on Raw that would make sense. Other than the Lucha House Party, which doesn't make sense. Kofi's hurt. So Woods doesn't have a tag partner. So they just win the tag team titles off New Day. And they start feuding with each other. Yet they still win their match, despite the fact that it would have made sense to have them lose because they're arguing with each other the whole time. And you kind of want Grand Metalik and Lindsay Dorado to maybe get a win so you could maybe believe in them down the road. Nah. Bobby Lashley's just going to get Grand Metalik to tap to the Hurt Lock. Whatever. Anything?
Well, I think there's a reason for this. Much like how Bliss won the main event, it's to make you believe that when she faces the champion, it's going to mean something. So when finally someone faces Bobby Lashley, probably at like WrestleMania or something, you could believe he could probably beat him, or you want to believe that he can beat him, because it's going to be a top guy. It's going to be like someone, I could see someone like Goldberg or something face Lashley.
Maybe. I don't see that, though. For the U.S. title? Goldberg?
Well, it doesn't have to be Goldberg, but like someone, a big star, like someone where it's like, oh yeah, I could definitely see him beat Bobby Lashley. But Bobby's getting all these wins now, so they're building him up where it's like, well, Bobby wins all the time, so more than likely he's going to win again.
Building him up for what?
Yeah, we'll wait and see. I mean, usually by the Rumble you figure it out, right? Because like usually they tease the feuds in the Rumble match. So whoever probably eliminates Lashley is probably going to get the shot.
Omos?
That'd be pretty cool, but again, like the sides don't make sense. I mean, mainly heel, right?
I guess. I'm just looking at the Raw roster and I'm trying to figure it out. Jeff Hardy? No, he's already lost. Like, there's not that many baby faces to go up against Bobby for the U.S. title. I thought Riddle was the ticket. You know, give Riddle a little U.S. title run. Give him some gold on the main roster. Legitimize him a little bit. But they seem to kind of have Riddle lose every chance they get. So I don't know.
There's one guy left.
Help me.
Keith Lee.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. There you go. Thanks, John. You just figured that one out. Jeff Hardy beat Jackson Riker by disqualification when Elias pushed Jeff off the top rope. Jackson was mad that Elias stopped the match and caused him to lose. Hardy tried attacking Elias after the match and Riker, but took a spinebuster from Riker instead. So Jeff Hardy and Elias and Jackson Riker feud continues, which we're all very excited about. So that's Raw for this week. Coming up on Raw, we will have Goldberg and Drew McIntyre appearing, as the Royal Rumble will be a week away, the final week of TV before the Royal Rumble for WWE. Raw and SmackDown one more time before we get to the Rumble, and next week we will be doing the Rumble preview show right here.
Well, I'm pretty happy that we're going to get this match now. It's going to happen, Goldberg, McIntyre. Looking forward to it. And I want to believe in Jeff Jarrett's prediction. Spear, jackhammer, 1, 2, 3. So we need to see at the Rumble. Let's do it.
No, I don't think so. All right, let's. I want to switch gears over to AEW. Congratulations to Patrick C. Hamilton, who won the raffle for the month. Congrats, Patrick. And we will be giving another one away tomorrow night during our UFC 257 watch-along. We'll be doing another giveaway tomorrow night for UFC 257. So be sure to be tuning in tomorrow night for your chance, and, of course, for more entertainment, more partying. It's going to be a good time. Conor McGregor. Fucking Conor McGregor, baby. Here we go.
Well,
it's McGregor season, motherfucker.
I look forward more to the watch-along. I don't actually watch the fights. I just watch you guys on YouTube, but it's fun.
Hey, do whatever you got to do, Johnny. Watch the fights with us. Just watch us. As long as you're watching us, that's really the most important thing. I just want you to watch us, right? That's fine.
That's the important part, yeah.
Before we tell you about everything going on in Dynamite World, where there was like a major botch on Dynamite this week that, wow. It was...
Well, there was a bunch of botches. What are you talking about?
I don't know. On a finish, that was shockingly bad. Shockingly
finish,
bad.
Okay.
With the... Wasn't that
Are we talking about the Kip... Was it the women's match?
Yeah, with Kip Sabian.
I mean, there was worse botches. I mean, yes, it sucked, and like it was too bad because I thought the match was pretty good.
It was really bad.
But the botch, you mean, like the whole like the foot thing, like it's not the end of the world.
So Penelope Ford is wrestling Layla Hirsch on Dynamite. Kip Sabian, Layla Hirsch's leg is, I think, supposed to be on the bottom rope. It's not. Kip Sabian just kind of grabs her leg. Shivani acted like her foot was on the ropes and Sabian pushed it off. And that allowed Penelope Ford to get the win. JR was like, I don't know what the hell happened. Even JR was like, that was awful. Couldn't save it on commentary. Layla Hirsch should have had her leg on the bottom rope. That match to begin with wasn't very good, but the finish just made it unwatchable. Shockingly bad. And at that point, if you're Kip Sabian, like, if you see her legs not on the rope, don't do it. Do nothing. Because it was obvious he was supposed to do a spot that just wasn't there. Do nothing. Right?
Well,
what would you have done if you were Kip Sabian in that spot, John? You know you're supposed to take her leg off the rope, but her leg's not on the rope. So do nothing. Your job is done. It's her fault.
Well, what I think he was supposed to do was just hold the leg down. That's what I think he was supposed to do. But for whatever reason, he put his like arms through like the bottom rope, and it kind of screwed that up, and like the leg got caught in the rope, and then he kind of like pushed it off at the same time, and it like completely distracted what I think he was supposed to do, was just hold the leg down, but he didn't know how to do that. So it looked bad, but that's on him. It's not really on anyone else.
It was awful.
I thought there was worse moments actually on this show. Like, I don't know if you watched the well, you probably saw it, but you may have not seen that moment with I think it was Top Flight and Seidel, I think, against Matt Hardy and Private Party. There was a bunch of like horrible flips, like just went awry in like a sequence of like 10 seconds. That was pretty awful, and I saw they got a lot of heat on Twitter for that.
Who? Private Party or the Top Flight? I mean, Top Flight, they're obviously just green flip guys. They're super young, they're green as hell, and all they do is flip. I don't care to watch them.
Well, Private Party, they're not too far off. A bit more experience.
No, they're not.
Too much more experience.
Exactly. Yeah. Private Party is like a good version of Top Flight, and Private Party's green as fuck. Private Party looked, I will say, very much in their place on Impact Wrestling. When I saw them walk out in the Impact Zone, I was like, yeah, that seems like where they belong. You're not AEW ready. Like, you're not ready to deal with Young Bucks, FTR, SCU, legitimate tag teams in AEW. You're not ready for that shit. Those are world-class tag teams. Private Party, you're not in that league. But you could for sure beat Chris Sabin and James Storm. For sure. I don't know who the tag team division is in Impact. I don't need to know. They don't have the Bucks. They don't have FTR. They don't have anybody I've heard of, except for the Good Brothers. And now, Private Party is going to wrestle the Good Brothers on the next Impact Wrestling pay-per-view. Good call. Matt Hardy's promo in Impact was very good. Big Money Matt back at Impact. I thought that was great. And I like the crossover. I like that it's not just Kenny. It's Private Party and Matt Hardy. And now Private Party are the number one contenders after beating James Storm and Chris Sabin. They're the number one contenders for the Impact Tag Team titles against the Good Brothers. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. I thought that was a cool move this week, Johnny. That was a good one. They looked at home in Impact. They seemed comfortable.
I think it was kind of cool for Matt, because I was watching Dark at the same time, and apparently they were able to time it where he pretty much was on Dark and Impact practically at the same time. So that was kind of cool. Great. And I think he even mentioned he did like a Rick Rude kind of thing. So that's kind of nice for Matt that they did that. And I thought Matt was probably the best part of that six-man. He was trying to keep it together, but there's only so much you can do. And, like, you're outnumbered in a sense. Like, him and Seidel are the vets, but, like, you have more rookies in that match. So it went off the rails, sadly.
These guys are rookies. These guys are green. These guys are young. These guys probably have no need even for Manscaped. They're that young, and they're putting them on TV. It's like Top Flight, -1. They're not using Manscaped, but you are, because like The Undertaker, you are a real man. So you go to manscaped.com. You use the promo code ringside20. You get 20% off your order. You get free shipping. You get the Lawnmower 3.0, because unlike the green prepubescent jabronis in AEW, you have some hair on your balls that you need to get rid of. You get that Lawnmower 3.0 and you shave down and you're going to be looking good. You're going to be smelling good because you're going to get the ball deodorant. You're going to get your crop revitalizer. You're going to get your ball wipes. You're going to get fresh and clean and smelling good. You're going to get repeat visitors to your ball region. Manscaped.com. Use that promo code ringside20. Hook yourself up. Your balls will thank you. The people that go near your balls will thank you as well. Okay? And those are the most important people in your life. Get it together. Manscaped.com. Promo code ringside20. Real men like The Undertaker use Manscaped. Yeah. Right?
You have no idea if The Undertaker actually uses it or not, but it's a good line that you use, I suppose.
Undertaker's got a nice dick.
Again, that's nice information that apparently you have.
I get Michelle to shave my balls.
Not now, because unfortunately she has COVID, but maybe at one time she did.
I don't let her do it with the Rona. I call Kane.
And we forgot to mention this, but congrats to Matt Hardy. Like, he's going to have a daughter soon. So
what
congrats
the fuck?
to him and his family.
Seriously? Another one? What is that,
Well, he hasn't had a
4
daughter
now?
yet.
4 kids?
4.
Jeez.
He's busy. Big money. Big money. You got to keep getting that money, man. That's why he's got 30%.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Matt Hardy. You want to talk about real man? God damn. That guy is virile. Genetic jackhammer. The grapefruits on Matt Hardy. My God. I'm getting excited just thinking about it. Matt Hardy is really giving it his all. Good for Matt Hardy. Dark Order celebrated -1's birthday to start off Dynamite. Johnny Silver, Johnny Hungy, was talking about Hangman Page joining the Dark Order and the birthday celebration. But then Evil Luther comes out. And it's like the first time we've ever heard Luther cut a promo on Dynamite. Starts running down -1 in the Dark Order. TH2 comes out. Everybody brawls. Hangman comes out, jumps on everybody. And here we go. The match has begun. It's Hangman Page, Alex Reynolds, John Silver, and Colt Cabana getting the win over TH2 and the Chaos Project. Reynolds getting the 1-2-3 on Serpentico. -1, Brody Lee's son, cut a promo on Serpentico and hit him with a kendo stick and the papers after the match, which was a nice little moment. Nice that they're doing that for little Brody. Happy to see him, part of the fold in AEW, and he seems to like it, so that's good. But then, the sad part was after that. Johnny Hungy cuts a promo talking about how much he loves Hangman, gets on one knee, and proposes that Hangman join the Dark Order. And Hangman, sad, he says, look, I've done the group thing before. It didn't work out for me. I'm very sorry. He takes the bottle of liquor the Dark Order got for him and walks away. And the replies to Hangman Page on Twitter, people are treating this like it's real. And it does feel kind of real. Hangman Page tweeted out, I'm so sorry, with the clip of him not joining the Dark Order. And the replies are just like, it's okay, Hangman. We love you. Hang in there, Hangman. It's okay. You'll figure it out. We still love you, Hangman. Like, people are really affected by this. It's okay, Hangman. Take your time. Dark Order will always be there for you. It's weird. People are treating this like it's real. And I like it. I felt the emotion. I was sad when Hangman was like, I can't do it. You felt it. Like, he's not saying, screw you guys, I got some other guy. He's not healing out on the group. He's just like, look, I've been hurt before. I can't be hurt again. I loved it, man. Yeah. I felt it. I was writing to Hangman, it's okay, Hangman. We still love you. Why couldn't you be with Johnny Hunky? He needs you, Hangman. Typing away, all sad, tears streaming down my face. That was me. That was me, guys. I was reading replies. I was just reading my own replies to Hangman. I love you, Hangman. You're so handsome. Join the Dark Order. That was me. I felt it, though, John. I did. I was like, oh, Hangman. You're not joining Dark Order? Man. And now, like, the Hangman journey continues. You know, like, what does he do now? Lonely Hangman. Lonely Hangman. He's lonely. He's sad. He's by himself. And he doesn't know where to turn. Except, as the great Jim Leahy would say, just look to the liquor. Let the liquor do the thinking, bud. Right?
If he was Canadian, he probably would have used that line or something like that, for sure. But he probably hasn't seen Trailer Park
Oh my
Boys,
God!
sadly.
If Hangman Page ever in a stupor sits there and says, "I am the liquor," I'll fucking lose it, bud. I'll lose it. All right. Hangman needs to say, "I am the liquor. I am the liquor."
That'd be fun. That would
I am
be,
the liquor,
but that's
Randy.
a BT,
I've always been the liquor.
that's a BT thing. Like, I didn't mind this overall, this whole segment, but like a lot of this seemed very like it should have been BTE instead of on Dynamite. And I think they just took this a little too far with just how ridiculous it was.
No,
Like,
you don't watch BTE, so you don't get it. You got to watch BTE to be fully invested into these characters on Dynamite, John. I'm telling you. I know what you're saying, but like because you don't watch BTE, you didn't feel the emotion. But if you watch BTE and you watch Dynamite, you get the whole picture. It's like you really don't get the stories of AEW unless you watch Being the Elite. Like Dynamite's the wrestling, BTE is the promos. You're missing out on half the show.
I think I'm fine. After the last time I saw that show, I'm happy not seeing. I'm glad he didn't join the Dark Order. I don't want to see him join it. I like him actually as a solo guy. I think it works better like that. No, I'm not big on this whole thing. Like, if anything, hopefully this is going to push them more to be in the heel group that they were, and he's going to feud with them. I love to see
Claws
that.
up. No, they're not a heel group. They can't be a heel group. Johnny Hungy is too hot to be a heel wrestler. Colt Cabana is in the group. How the fuck? They're a comedy group. Heel group. What are you talking about? You want to talk about something that should have been on Being the Elite? And weird references? How about the Young Bucks and Don Callis promo at Kenny Omega's mansion? What the hell was that? What the hell was that? So the Bucks are at a mansion. Michael Nakazawa appears.
Kenny's
He's
house.
like, it's Kenny's house. We find out eventually it's Kenny's house. They're looking for Kenny. They find a painting of Kenny and Don Callis topless, wearing jeans, looking jacked. Don Callis looking way more jacked than he is in real life. Kenny Omega was pretty accurate. It's a very creepy painting that I want. I want a T-shirt of that.
There's
painting.
a shirt.
There
There is
there?
a shirt, yes.
I need that
Yeah.
shirt. I need that shirt so bad.
Oh.
People definitely think some weird things when they see me walking around wearing that shirt.
Zev, I pray for you.
Oh, okay. So Don Callis shows up and he's like, "You like the birthday present I got for Kenny, the painting?" And the Bucks are like, "Yeah." And the Bucks are mad that Don Callis swerved them last week when it's supposed to be the Bucks teaming with Kenny, but instead he introduced the Good Brothers. And Don was like, "Oh, no, that was a misunderstanding. No hard feelings." And the Bucks want to see Kenny Omega. They've come to talk to Kenny, but he's not there at his own house. Don Callis is there, and he wants to pay the Bucks off in exchange for their friendship with Kenny. He says, "You've been friends with Kenny for a long time. You've made an investment on Kenny. You deserve to be paid for that investment." So he writes them a check. And the Bucks don't like that. The Bucks don't want to be just removed from Kenny's life. Don Callis wants to get rid of the old crew, trying to start the new Kenny Omega, you know?
They
Bring a new
don't trust
Kenny.
the Impact checks, by the way, too.
Yeah, they don't trust the Impact checks because they've fallen for that before, which was a good line. And then the Bucks get into Don Callis' face, and Don backs up onto the camera, and the camera goes to black, and Don Callis is like, no, don't take your anger out on me, which is a Simpsons reference. Did you catch that?
I didn't catch it, but now that you say it, now, yes.
You didn't catch that? I caught that immediately when he's like, no, don't take your anger out on me. And the way he extended the me, that's from the Gummy Venus de Milo episode of The Simpsons, classic Simpsons, where Homer is doing the interview. Remember, because the babysitter is accusing Homer of sexual harassment, but Homer was just grabbing the Gummy Venus de Milo that he got at the candy festival thing that he went to with Marge, which is why they needed the babysitter. He's dropping off the babysitter. She's sitting on the car seat. As she gets up to leave the car, Homer sees the Gummy Venus on her butt, stuck to her butt. So he grabs it and he's like, candy. And then she turns around and she sees him drooling and thinks, he's grabbing my butt, sexual harassment. So Homer gets into all sorts of trouble. And then he does some sort of interview with this guy. And he's like, they edit it to make Homer look really bad. I was just trying to grab some sweet candy, but they edit it so hers is a sweet can. Remember that? Classic Simpsons.
Yes.
And then the guy acts like Homer attacks him at the end. He's like, "No, Mr. Simpson, don't take your anger out on me." And then the camera fades to black, and it seems like Homer attacked the guy, and that's what they did here on this stupid fucking promo on AEW.
I actually remember that episode more for a Marge line in that episode, where Marge says, "As long as everyone's videotaping everyone, justice will be done," which stands true today.
Simpsons predict everything.
Always.
Except the Gummy Venus. So that was a weird segment. And then later on, Don Callis is actually beat up. And Kenny Omega is like, "What happened?" And Don's like, "Oh, the Bucks did it." And Kenny's upset.
Okay, timeout. Beat up. He's got like Tanner on like his face, and like, "Oh, I got beat up." Like that was just like really stupid makeup. Like it was bad.
All right. So did the Bucks attack him, or was that a fake out for the camera?
But that's the interesting part. Like, you don't really know, but it seems like Callis is like manipulating Kenny.
Yes.
Or maybe he's not.
Or maybe he's not.
That's fun.
Maybe Kenny is in on it. He just doesn't want to look like the bad guy in front of his friends, right? We don't know.
I like that. That's good.
It's a good angle, man. It's the best angle in wrestling right now. The Kenny Omega, Impact Wrestling, Don Callis, Good Brothers, Young Bucks thing. It's interesting. It's better than the Sting, Darby Allin, Taz stuff. Taz wants to take it to the streets. Go hard. Go nasty.
It's happening.
Okay.
We're doing it.
Why did he say go hard and go nasty? Taz really wants to get nasty with Sting. Anyways, Darby's like, "Be careful what you wish for, because you just might happen." Because Darby's monotone AF. God damn, Darby can't talk. Darby's awesome in the ring. As soon as he picks up a microphone, you're like, fucking falling asleep.
Well, it's too bad because he's playing a character. Like, if you actually heard him like just talk as he usually talks, like he actually talks pretty good. Like,
Really?
they should let him talk like that, but playing the character, yeah. If you ever seen some of his cameos, like he's actually pretty good.
Yeah, well, promos are not his strong suit.
Well, because it's
Looks
the character,
cool.
that's the problem.
Yeah, looks cool, wrestles well, but like, woof. And then he's like, "Yeah, be careful what you wish for." And then the announce team are like, "They accepted the challenge." And I'm like, did they? Taz didn't seem to issue a challenge. He's just like, "I want to take it to the streets with you guys." And then Darby's like, "Be careful what you wish for." So Taz didn't clearly make a challenge. Darby didn't obviously accept, but the announce team were satisfied that a match had been made. And a match has been made for AEW Revolution, which was supposed to take place at the end of February, but now is going to take place probably in March. We don't know yet.
That's okay.
Though. It's being moved around either the 6th of March or the 13th. It was supposed to be the 27th of February, but now it'll probably be the week after or 2 weeks after the initial date for Revolution. I'm not sure why. I think maybe for fans.
Well, no, it's because there's some sort of like boxing event going on, isn't there? Like I think one of the
the
Paul
brothers.
One of them. I don't know who.
They're
Yeah,
going to
that's
move a
why. 'Cause
pay-per-view to avoid a Jake Paul boxing match. Oh, that might be Mayweather, though, right? It's Mayweather, isn't it?
if it is Mayweather, it makes a lot of sense because I think last time they ran against like one of those fights, they got like the worst like buy rates. So like, it's a smart idea. Like WWE, like I don't think they're gonna have a pay-per-view. Like then they run on Sundays anyways, but like there's a lot of time between pay-per-views. Like you might as well make sure there's no other like event against you.
I don't know. That was supposed to take place February 20th.
We talking about the Mayweather fight or
Yeah.
like the actual like?
No, the Mayweather thing.
So
It's supposed to be February 20th, but Revolution wasn't supposed to be till the 27th, so it's not even the same date. Why would they move it to March? And also, I'm seeing that the Mayweather-Logan Paul boxing match is also not going to take place February 20th, and it's going to be moved. And this news like just broke a couple hours ago. So that's probably not even going to happen.
Everything's fluid, it sounds like. I mean, it still might happen in February, it sounds like. So, wait and see.
Yeah, but it'll be Sting and Darby versus Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. Is that the match?
Yeah, but it's a street fight, right? So, does it really matter who's like actually in the match? Because everyone can get involved, right? We've seen the street fight how it was before. Like, it's just a bunch of cars around, isn't it? Like, isn't that going to be the setup?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do exactly, but it's a good way to have Darby take some weird bumps and let Sting keep his T-shirt and jacket on in a match and use the baseball bat and avoid taking any bumps at all, right? It's a good way to hide Sting's weaknesses.
He'll take the jacket off, I think.
Maybe. But will he be wearing long sleeves under his shirt?
Well, whatever. Do what you want.
Layers. That's what wrestlers need. Layers. Cody Rhodes beat Peter Avalon with a figure 4 submission despite Jade Cargill making a distraction and Avalon hitting a low blow off the distraction. Avalon still lost to Cody. I like the finish of this match. Avalon tried to slap Cody in the face while in the figure 4. Cody went to slap him back, and Avalon just tapped to avoid getting slapped in the face because he's pretty Peter Avalon. He doesn't want to get slapped in the face. I thought that was kind of funny. Other than that, Jade Cargill looks like more of a threat to Cody than Peter Avalon, though. And it continues. And Shaq is going to do something now? Like, Cody Rhodes is going to do a promo on Shaq on Wednesday night for some reason. Cody will respond to Shaq. What did Shaq say?
Well, this goes back to what Shaq said to Brandy. Remember, like
that he wanted to see Jade and Brandy wrestle,
and that I think Jade was going to show Brandy like how a wrestler wrestles apparently, and I guess that was a bit of an insult. So now Cody's going to stand up for his wife pretty much, and we're going to probably get the match that everyone wants to see. I know you want to see Shaq wrestle.
At least the AEW will announce it and give it to us. They'll give it to us. At least they'll give us the match. Unlike WWE, they'd announce Cody and Shaq and then be like, "Well, it's gonna be Cody and Jey Uso actually in the end." A little swerve ski. Cody and Shaq. Who fucking knows what that's gonna be? Okay, Jon Moxley beat a guy who looked better than most of the AEW roster, Nick Camarado. I mean, wrestling-wise, I don't know, but geez, this guy was huge. Wow.
He was on Dark a couple of times. But yeah, he stood out. And they realized it. Give him opportunity. I thought that was really nice of them to do that.
He got way more offense. Yeah, he got way more offense than a normal job squash match, right?
Yeah, but he's shown potential. He kind of, in my opinion, he earned that. If you saw his efforts on Dark, it's yeah, he deserves a better spot. And to be given that, I think they want to actually do him. So I think that was a good step in that direction for him.
Yeah, I think it was a good debut on Dynamite for this guy, who's got promise. He's got size. I don't know how old he is, but I was impressed with him. I thought the match was, whatever. But I'm not a huge Jon Moxley fan to begin with. It was what it was. I was impressed with Camarado being so big. Moxley getting him with a rear naked choke, choked him out. Technical submission victory for Jon Moxley, who cut a promo on Kenny Omega after the match. He says he doesn't care. Kenny can bring all his friends from Nashville or Japan. It doesn't matter to him because at the end of the road, he will be there. So Moxley, not finished with Kenny, wants revenge.
He's going to get it, too.
Yes, because at AEW Beach Break on February 3rd, it will be Jon Moxley, Rey Fenix, and Pac versus Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. That's AEW Beach Break, February 3rd. So not the next episode of Dynamite, not this Wednesday, but the Wednesday after. They're doing a special Dynamite. They're going to have that six-man tag, Moxley, Phoenix, and Pac versus Omega and the Good Bros. They're going to have a tag team battle royal for a title shot at Revolution. So a battle royal with tag teams. The winner of the battle royal faces the Bucks for the titles at Revolution on the pay-per-view. That's taking place on Beach Break. And that's it. Coming up on Dynamite this week, it'll be Jungle Boy versus Dax Harwood of FTR. Lance Archer one-on-one with Eddie Kingston. That should be fun. And the Young Bucks and Good Brothers together to take on Johnny Hungy, Alex Reynolds, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson. Oh, shit. That's big. I like that. What's going to happen there?
Well, I think we're finally going to see the Bucks conflict with the Good Brothers, and we could see like a champion versus champion match. I think that'd be very interesting.
Not at Revolution, though, because the Bucks are going to defend against the winners of the Battle Royal, unless the Good Brothers enter the Battle Royal and win it.
Yeah, that'd be very interesting. We'll have to wait and see.
MJF and Chris Jericho won the Inner Circle tag team thing. MJF and Jericho beat Sammy and Jake Hager and Proud and Powerful in the Triple Threat Tag Team match. MJF getting the pinfall on Guevara. Sammy had MJF on his shoulders and knocked Wardlow off the apron, which caused a distraction. MJF rolling up Sammy for the win. So MJF and Jericho are the official tag team of the Inner Circle. Maybe they win the tag team battle royal. That would make sense, MJF and Jericho against the Bucks. Because they just became the guys that are in the Inner Circle that are supposed to go for the tag team titles. Right?
Well, that's what kind of makes this fun. There's a lot of potential challengers. I mean, I think FTR, they never got that rematch, so that'd be fun to see them get that rematch. That was a good match. I'd like to see that again.
2 pay-per-views in a row, though?
Considering how good it was, yeah, I got no problem with that.
I would
the best tag teams right now.
Wait. You got time. Let it build. Let it simmer. Because that's what I like about AEW. They have these matches, they have these feuds, and you remember them, and then you're like, shit, they're going to do the rematch, and they're going to even it up, and then they don't. It's like MJF beat Cody. Everybody expected Cody to come back and get a match at some point with MJF. They haven't wrestled since. They haven't been anywhere near each other since. That was a major feud.
Stipulation.
Yeah, but that Cody, he mentioned him. He said he's going to go after him again. It's not over. Like, there are things that kind of happen. Like Cody and Darby Allin, they had a whole long thing. When they first started, and then, Cody, they went to a draw, and then eventually Darby beat Cody for the TNT title, but it took a long time to get to that point. They have long story arcs, and people aren't going to be like, oh, yeah, FTR and the Bucks, they don't like each other, right? Like, people don't need to be reminded of that. People are aware. The Bucks don't need to wrestle FTR at the next pay-per-view because people don't need to see that again. We remember their last match. It was great. FTR can do something else. Bucks can do something else, and we can revisit that in a year. And then the FTR could take the title back from the Bucks, and, like, That's the kind of long-term stories that you can do here in AEW, especially with only 4 pay-per-views a year, because then pay-per-view matches mean more, and you remember them more, and they have more of an impact. That's how I feel about it. Long-term stories. Don't do the rematch right away. Build it. Make it mean something. If you get an immediate rematch, it doesn't mean as much. It means more if you do the rematch down the road. Have the build. Give it a deeper story.
You bring up a good point. It's just I'd like to see FTR as champions again, and I'd like to see it sooner than later.
Yeah. I don't need to see that. I'm good. Good Brothers beating up Pentagon. Kenny Omega was there, helped on the beating. Kenny then took his boot off and shoved the point of his boot into Pentagon's eye. Is this a thing that we do to luchadors now? We take their eyes out? Was this a nod to Seth Rollins and all his eye stuff to Rey Mysterio, or what?
Possibly. I just saw this as like, well, they got to write him off because he can't be in that match, right? So that's.
But he went for
how
the
they pulled
eye?
it off.
You go for the eye on a luchador? Like, I don't know. There's been a lot of eyeball stuff to Mexican dudes wearing masks that when I saw Kenny do it to Pentagon, I was like, really? We're going for the eye again? We're doing an eye for an eye match or what? Like, what's happening here? I don't know. I'd seen too much of it with Seth and Ray that when I saw Kenny do it to Penta, I was like, what are we doing, Seth and Ray again? Does Kenny have a shitty son that can't wrestle too? Or I guess Pentagon would have the shitty son that can't wrestle. He's got a good brother that can wrestle, though. Much better. Much better. Much rather Rey Fenix than Domino Mysterio. And I'm calling him Domino Mysterio now because he's about as shitty as Deuce and Domino. So it's Domino Mysterio. All right.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't hate Deuce Domino, but apparently you got some hate there for
They
whatever
sucked.
reason.
Cherry was good, but the rest of them. Straight jabronis. Okay. What else happened on Dynamite this week? Miro cut a promo. Miro demanding his butler, Chuck Taylor, tell Orange Cassidy that he is now his best friend. Chuck said it. Orange sold it like it hurt. Fucking stupid. The butler thing.
Well, I don't think he sold it like it hurt. He just sold it as like, you guys are jerks, I'm going to get you back for this, like, because I think, he's not stupid, Orange. Like, he realizes like he's being forced to say it. So he's just mad because there's nothing he can do about it.
What do you think of Cody Rhodes' new theme song, the Snoop Dogg version?
It's just publicity, the fact that he's doing a show with Snoop Dogg, it's just doing that.
Yeah. I don't like it. I like the original version better. But I do like the MJF, Chris Jericho, Judas remix where they kind of mix their songs together. That was cool.
Yeah, it's all right. Like, I'm actually kind of tired of people always chanting Jericho's song all the time. Like, he's not supposed to be a face, yet people keep doing this all the time.
I mean, he kind of
and
is.
Like, well, kind of is, kind of isn't. Like, he's the problem is too. He's a jerk to all of the wrestlers, and yet all the wrestlers will like chant his song. So that's kind of doesn't make a lot of sense. It's fine with the fans doing it, but
yeah,
if like someone calls me a jerk, I'm not gonna sing his song.
Yeah. Yeah, you have people in the front rows there kind of out of character singing Jericho's song. That I get, but I don't mind when the people sing it. I become it. Yeah. Johnny Hungy, baby. It's all about Johnny Hungy for me. Pizza boy! No?
What do you think about Jericho almost dying on the lion salt?
Fuck. He almost broke his head there. What happened? Jericho, man. Jericho doesn't look so good. Hey, he's not look. He looks a little sluggish in the ring. He did not look good. And when you're doing the lion salt and you're landing on your head, maybe it's time to call it a day. I like that he's tag teaming now, because he doesn't need to be having long singles matches anymore. I think he's nearly done. I love Chris Jericho, but over the past year or so, we've seen a decline. There's a decline. And seeing him wrestle in that match, that tag match, I think it's because everybody else was so young. You know, like Sammy Guevara's in there. Sammy's super young. He moves really well. You know, like he's got no trouble moving around. He's got a spring in his step. MJF, proud and powerful. Like all those guys move really well. They're in the prime of their career. Some of them are so young they haven't even entered the prime of their wrestling careers yet, you know? And Jericho's like long past his prime. Hager didn't look good either. Like, to be honest, Hager looks kind of shitty too. Hager looks old and slow, and he's got no reason to look old and slow because he's still in his 30s. But he looks fucking slow. But Jericho looks worse. I don't like saying that about Chris Jericho. I really don't. I love Chris Jericho. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. He's one of the greatest of all time. But he doesn't look that great anymore. But goddamn, he's 50. Jake Hager's 38. What the hell's his excuse?
I'm just trying to remember, like, Hager didn't really stand out in that match so much, so I can't really remember anything from him that was
He didn't look great.
That looked,
He doesn't look great
can't
in
remember.
AEW.
well, I find this the matchups haven't been great. Like him against Moxley, that's not really his style of match. It wasn't a good place for him. And like he's been in a bunch of tag matches too, so like I just find he's a nice addition to Inner Circle. They need that like enforcer kind of thing, but in terms of like big matchups, nothing really suits him. Like it's great that he's doing Bellator because I think that's a better fit for him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Hager. I haven't been super impressed with him in AEW. He's had his moments, but Jericho, man, I worried about him taking that lion salt. That was rough. You think he does it again? Probably, right? But
Well, it's not like he hasn't slipped before.
did he really donate $40,000 to Donald Trump? Is that real?
Possibly.
Jesus.
Possibly, yeah.
$40,000 to Donald Trump. What's up, Jericho? What has happened to Chris Jericho? He ceased to be a Canadian, and now he's like this strange Florida man.
Well, he's actually been living in the States like for many years now, so like
Yeah.
pretty much most wrestlers live in Florida, right? So
At this point,
Yeah.
he's more American than Canadian, right?
he
I'm about
was
to
born
take-
in the States.
I'm about to take his citizenship away. I'm about to revoke his Canadian passport. He's getting a little
I
too.
wouldn't.
He's looking very orange, you know. He's very Floridian. I could take him. I could take his citizenship away, John. I have that right. I'm super Canadian. I live in this country, and if you live in this country for more than 30 years, you are allowed to revoke citizenships. We all know the rules of Canada. We all know the rules. If you live in this country for 30 years and procreate in the country, you are allowed to revoke 5 citizenships in your lifetime. That's the rules of Canada. I've already revoked 2 citizenships. Okay? Don't make Jericho be the third.
Well, where's your pardons? I thought people get pardons. Like, aren't you a merciful person? Like, where's the pardons?
I mean, Trump pardoned enough people that I was like, yeah. Trump pardoned Harry O, the Death Row co-founder. Trump pardoned Lil Weezy. Lil Weezy, baby! Trump pardoned Kodak Black. Kodak Black's getting out of jail. Like, yeah.
So now you're happy.
Yeah, he did good on the pardons, Trump. The only thing Trump did well was, like, right at the end. Like, his whole presidency was kind of a disaster, you know? Kind of a wacky dude. But, like, towards the end, he was like, yeah, free Kodak Black, free Lil Wayne, free Harry O. I was like, yeah, all right, cool. Good job, Trump. Also, when he had Triple H in the White House, that was cool. I mean, he had some cool moments, you know? He showed up at a UFC show. That was cool. Joe Biden's never going to be ringside at an MMA show. You know what I mean? He's not going to be at Madison Square Garden watching the UFC. But he's also not doing some of the other bad shit that Trump was doing. So, you know. But he's going to be doing some bad shit of his own. So, either way, bunch of shitty old guys as far as I'm concerned. Bunch of shitty old guys that don't really know what the fuck they're doing. I don't really like either guy to be really real. I don't like any politicians to be really, really, really real.
Well, that's what they asked for. That's what they get for 4 years. So that's their problem, not our problem.
Yeah, we got our own problems. We got our own problems to deal with. Johnny North, I'll be dealing with my own problems, also known as AJ DeLessio.
Yeah,
tomorrow
the rivalry
night.
continues.
The rivalry. Oh, it's a great friendship. It's the love story continues between me and AJ. AJ loves me, and I
kicked him
love
off
him.
the show last night. So I mean, the other night.
I kicked him off the show briefly, John. Just when he needed to settle. I put him in timeout. That's what I got to do to AJ. He's like a child. You got to put him in timeout. Actually, I don't have to put my son in timeout because he's a good boy. AJ's just a bad boy that we have to put in timeout. AJ.
Well, it's going to be fun tonight.
Yep.
You guys going at it. The Connor fight.
UFC 257. Check it out. Check out our preview show right now. Go to our YouTube channel. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. When you subscribe, click the bell so you get notifications every time we are on. I'll be back here 10 p.m. Saturday night for UFC 257 with Freddie and AJ. We'll be watching the whole deal. UFC 257 with Conor McGregor. Watch the replay of Ringside Report MMA from Thursday night. Ringside Report MMA every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Wrestling Uncensored every Friday night here at 10 p.m. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We appreciate you staying up with us on a Friday night. Big shout out to Douglas Hepburn, to Patrick C. Hamilton, and to all the members of the Ringside Report team. Be sure to become a member. Join the team. We appreciate you. We're giving stuff away now. We got giveaways going on. We'll do another giveaway during the pay-per-view tomorrow night. So watch us right here, the UFC 257 watch along. Thank you, everybody, for supporting the channel. Go to merch.ringsidereport.net if you want to get yourself one of those tumbler mugs, a t-shirt, a face mask, like my man did. My man Brian got himself a face mask. Shout out to you, Brian. Thank you for supporting. Go to merch.ringsidereport.net to support the team. Subscribe to us here on YouTube and become a member of the team so you get special emojis, and I see your chats pop up, nice green names. Like Douglas Hepburn, his name's in green. He's got the Ringside Report logo next to his name. So he's official, like a referee with a whistle. And that's why I see his chats a lot easier when I'm doing the show here, Johnny. Okay? So thank you, Johnny. I love you, Johnny. I love you too, Dave. Thanks, Johnny. We'll talk to you again soon. This has been Wrestling Uncensored. What?
It's the way she goes.
Fucking way she goes, boys.
Thank you and good night.
Please join in and give your support to Ringside Report Network. We've been providing expert coverage and commentary on both pro wrestling and MMA for over 15 years. Ringside Report started on the radio, added podcasts, and moved to video in 2019. Our hosts are not just fans, but have in-depth knowledge of the subjects. Become a member of our YouTube channel now and become a recurring supporter of our work as we strive to continue to entertain you in these strange times. Pro wrestler Johnny Genesis North joins lifelong wrestling fan and aficionado Dave Simon to host our pro wrestling programming with in-depth coverage of the WWE, AEW, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Our flagship show, Wrestling Uncensored, is live every Friday right after WWE SmackDown. Here, you get a review of the week that was. You may not agree with our host. In fact, they often don't agree with each other. But you have an opportunity to chime in with your viewpoint in the chat rooms while live or in the comments section of YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook on the replay. Dave and Johnny also headline our coverage of major pro wrestling pay-per-views and breaking news. Dave Simon is joined by experienced jiu-jitsu fighters Fred Garcia and the ever-unpredictable AJ DeLessio. each Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern with Ringside Report MMA. They try and foresee what's next in the octagon and review, argue, and kibitz in a very friendly, irreverent manner. The three guys also team up to accompany you on all the major UFC pay-per-views with entertaining watch-alongs. Go to ringsidereport.net/support to find out more ways to support the channel.